Glass Beach was a band that was very important to a lot of people. The messaging that their band had in their debut album was borderline uncannily relatable to much of their listeners, striking right in the heart with not just realistic depictions of being queer in a confusing time, but also really good music. This relatability has made this album a classic in certain online spaces, with groups taking in Glass Beach as one of their favorite bands. But what really makes Glass Beach special? As she's mentioned on their first song, Jay is the lead singer and personality of the band, with her releasing an album titled He's Not With Us Anymore under the alias Cassiodad in 2015. If you haven't listened to this little album, I highly recommend it. You'll find sound similarities in these songs to the ones that are on the first Glass Beach album. The Cassiodad album caught the attention of William White and Jonas Newhouse, who were fans of the sound presented. This eventually led to a friendship where they started creating music as a trio. This trio began to work on the first Glass Beach album. After some time, Lane Smith joined the band after bonding with the three as a guitarist. The band released their first single, Neon Glow, in 2018, which was more of a rock-oriented track about the death of humanity and aliens or something, I don't know. This one's just kind of fun. The ending parts of the song are actually so good, I really like this song. On May 18th of 2019, the Glass Beach debut album released, and it Jay states that the 2015 album from Cassiodad focuses on inside feeling, while the Glass Beach debut captures what is seen on the outside, which is a much more interesting concept in my opinion. I feel it is easier to relate to this album when viewed from this angle, possibly helping people understand quickly how they relate to the music. This album opens up with classic Jay Dies and Goes to Hell Part 1, possibly the best track title in the history of music. The first verse of this song almost serves as a transition from the inside feelings to the outside view, with the narrator talking about their past mistakes and how they keep them up at night before growing quote-unquote happier when fulfilling the American dream of having a job and not quite owning a home. Making this video right at a time where this song specifically is directly relevant to my real life is insane, and I can't leave that thought to myself. They are unable to get over these feelings of loss, making friends through this time that don't really know what they were like when they were happy. They're begging to go back to this happier time, but even thinking about these moments leads to a horrible feeling, where you spiral into realizing what's done is done. They just want to feel at home. This song has been compared by me and at least one other guy to When You Wish Upon a Star, having a sort of similar slow melody at the start. I think this helps create an immediate feeling of connection and nostalgia, causing this beautiful jazzy progressive song to hit you right in the chest. By the way, I'm not sure how long I'll be talking about every song. It mainly depends on how well I actually think I understand the material, so some tracks might not be talked about in as much detail as these first few. The album then leads into Bedroom Community. This song is about how it feels to be trapped in your bedroom all the time, with nowhere to go but online. The song opens with a girl who hates her life, but has a heart of excitement, waiting for the future and wasting time. I'm 100% projecting on the song somewhat, so everything here is how I see it, even though I think it's pretty accurate. The girl has an overprotective father who presumably prevents her from doing many things in the outside world. To vent, she writes songs and she pours her heart out, but she's still seen as simply naive. The girl is then caught by her father trying on feminine items that make her more comfortable as a closeted trans girl. I believe this experience convinces her that she'll never come out, as it is clear to be unsafe. Her father is then seen blaming her depression on herself and calling her dramatic, making the situation 100 times worse for the poor girl. Even when her father insists that he loves her, he doesn't do anything to show that and only makes her life worse for her. This next part can be taken as literal or metaphorically, but I'll take it literally for the sake of the story. Due to her situation, it is implied that the girl ends up killing herself, as this seems to be a not so uncommon theme in these types of situations, with the song criticizing the public's reaction to this, with people acting like this is inevitable when it comes to trans people, like this is an unavoidable tragedy. The media is monetizing off of this tragic event, saying that the blood is partly on the media's hands, who push ideals onto desperate and self-conscious girls. Now the father has to search through those quote-unquote naive emo songs from earlier to make a liturgy for his daughter, and the song starts over in the same place, as the cycle repeats to another person. showing that this is something that will never stop if people keep acting the way that they do. I talked about this song a lot because this is like my second favorite song on the album, so now I promise we'll speed it up a little, maybe. These first two songs are very poppy, something that there isn't much of throughout the rest of the album really. Jay's vocals on this whole album are really outstanding, but the way she yells in Bedroom Community is incredible. These first two tracks are a sucker punch emotionally, and they're some of my favorite songs ever. The next song is one of the many interludes on the album, being in parentheses, forever, with a lot of question marks. These three tracks in parentheses are usually ambient instrumental tracks, here to help the album flow better, but I don't think there's much to talk about there. Track 4 is Bone Skull, with this being a short track describing walking through a ghost town with abandoned buildings, as the singer sings about how they would love to help people they love, but they are also in need of help themselves. I'd care about the future again if I knew I could last long enough. The track then goes from a slow synth-wavy thing to a more upbeat instrumental part before ending. The album then leads into the previously mentioned single Neon Glow, about the aliens or whatever. I'm not sure if there's any more to say about this song other than it is, in fact, really good. Track 6 is Cold Weather. This song is about moving away from somebody and only being able to talk to them online, before realizing that you had romantic feelings for them. Even though the singer is messaging this person at 4 AM trying to stay awake, this is what they live for. Even though they feel alone right now, they know that they have this person, even if it is unfortunately long distance. This is a pretty simple song about missing somebody and being forced to only talk to them online, which is really obviously relatable for a lot of people, especially nowadays. Do you like cats? The next song is Calico, and I thought this song was just a silly little interlude-like track, but somebody on the Genius page pointed out that even though all calico cats are girls, this cat is a boy, making him gender non-conforming. I'm pretty sure that's all to say about this song though. It's just a cute little track from Glass Beach, and that's a neat little fact about it. Track 8 is a 7-minute long Glass Beach, which is about the narrator trying to convince their partner to run away from their abusive family. The lyrics in this song are really clear and well written, bringing back the possible relatability on this song. This person really loves this girl, doing anything and sacrificing their nights just to keep them from spiraling too much, promising that they will be there with her. Jay says this is the thematic center of the album, which makes sense as this grand song deeply deals with the main themes presented so far. The narrator tells a story of when they ran away. They just stopped taking calls and left, probably without a foolproof plan. Because no one who loves you should make you feel so unsafe. No one who loves you should make you feel alone. The interlude where the narrator screams at her parents for having her blood on their hands, although I don't think this means that she'll eventually die. It could mean that there was physical abuse involved, or just the fact that if she did die, it would be their fault. The final part of the song is comforting her, showing how they're willing to give up their sense of security just to make her feel better, that they can take back the years that her parents took from her. The narrator finds it difficult to say that even though they aren't in such a tough spot, they need her as much as she needs them. The final chorus is really emotional and makes me really sad just because it's so sweet. It's ours, the moon and the stars. They'll forget who we were and we'll be together again. Yeah, and that's the title track. This is easily one of the best and most emotional songs on the whole album, with the progression and lyricism being incredibly touching. I love this song dearly, and I know it's important to many others as well. I definitely understand why this could be the highlight or the peak of the album to some people. Glass Beach is followed by the second interlude, Blood Rivers, before leading into Dallas. Dallas is another 7-minute long track that's really amazing. The atmosphere presented on this track is unbeatable. While this song has the length of Glass Beach, the lyrics are nowhere near as clear as those. I'm not sure what to even write about this song. I just can't comprehend it. I guess it's about Dallas, Texas, mentioning the cowboy billionaires and skyline that shaped the city. Even though Dallas is a very hot city, this is a very cold song. It sounds windy, like you get a chill just by listening to it. But that's really all I have to say before it leads into the third and final interlude, Rat Castle. Being an interlude, Rat Castle actually has lyrics. These days, I don't know what to do with you. Yeah, that's about it for Rat Castle. Track 12 is Planetarium, which is one of the most underrated songs on this album in my opinion. I just really like the vocals and autotune on here, with the chorus being really catchy. This track is very chaotic, with the instrumental being all over the place, which fits the lyrics as it's about trying to explain your helplessness and desperation, but being unable to properly convey your message, either because they are not being listened to, or because they simply can't explain their feelings. When you left, you locked us in a burning building, candid cameras in every corner, always filming. This part gets stuck in my head literally so often, it's so catchy. This song is really good, but that's about all I have to say. I think people should stop sleeping on this one. The next track, Soft, is about gender dysphoria and how it affects the narrator, with them feeling like complaining about how they feel is being selfish and egotistical, when really it's just hiding their feelings deeper down. They're waiting for things to get better for them to feel better about how they look, but either that day won't come if you don't do anything about it, or you just have to be patient with your changes. Even when they get positive comments, they can't accept them. They can't look in the mirror without crying, and they think this just makes them a soft person. Some of the lyrics could be taken a different way, but that's how I think I see it. This song is really pretty while also being kind of sad to listen to, but that makes it really good. I feel like this is another one that's underrated. I really love Soft. The next track is Yoshi's Island, which is an anthem that kind of summarizes a lot of the themes of this album, being about a girl and her dysphoria with her parents' ignorance and misunderstanding. Every verse is a different perspective on the girl's transition, with the first being her parents, as they perceive this as a phase and still refuse to call her a girl, all while promising that they still love her. The second verse is about only accepting her if she fits into a certain standard, which is obviously messed up and wrong, saying that she must cover her neck and cross her legs to be properly recognized. Her parents are also trying to hide her from the public and, once again, promising that they love her. The chorus seems to be from a supportive voice, being accusatory and pointing out how they would rather torture their kid than make her feel accepted for who she wants to be. The world could kill her just because she can't fit in right. The third verse is about society and acceptance. The world will make it hard for her to live and be herself, trying to manipulate her or damage her to become what they want her to be. Now, the line, "So don't leave the city, please don't leave the covers too," is not from a place of shame, but from a point of staying safe. The song ends with an upbeat section that's about being accepted and loved. From who, I'm not sure, but I don't think it really matters that much. Somebody's finally allowing her to be herself. This song is incredible and tells an incredibly immersive story that once again resonates with so many groups of people. I see this almost as if like it's a sequel to Bedroom Community. It just has the same vibe in my mind. I don't know if that's just me though. The 15th and final song on the album is Orchids. This song is really similar to Neon Glow, with it being about the end of the world and less grounded in reality, as everything is burning down and coming to an end. The narrator finds comfort in the idea that everybody will end up in the same place, together. Humanity cries out for some extraterrestrial force to come and save them from this fate, but nobody comes. As everybody's gone, there's no emotion to feel, no happiness or sadness. Nobody will ever know this happened ever again. The song ends with over a minute of silence, possibly showcasing how quiet things will be when we all go, but I have a theory that it's only that long to get the album to an even 60 minutes in length. And that was the first Glass Beach album. It's pretty easy to see why this stuck with so many people considering the lyrical nature of being queer and online. Some of my favorite songs ever are on this album, with half of these tracks being good enough to make me cry. Jay's vocals are incredible. I love the power poppy sound on here. That really elevates all the emotion. I could really talk about this album all day, but before we get into their second album, which is wildly different, I think we need to talk about Glass Beach has released 4 singles or covers that are unrelated to their 2 albums. They also released a remix album titled Alchemist Rats Beg Bashful, which I'll get to. Their first unrelated single, titled Running, was released in July of 2020, being made for the movie Bill and Ted Face the Music, but it was unfortunately scrapped and replaced. This song is a neat little catchy power pop tune about not forgetting who you are. The fade out is kinda weird on the song, but whatever, who cares. This is a really good song, and I don't see people talking about it, but I don't know. It's kind of basic, but it's effective. Glass Beach's second single is 1015, which I'm not really a big fan of. The instrumental and idea is good, but I find the vocals really obnoxious on here. This is another classic Glass Beach American Dream song, I think, but I really don't have anything to say. I always forget about this one. Glass Beach has also made 2 cover songs, with both of them being met with not so positive reviews. First is their cover of Beach Life and Death by Car Seat Headrest, and yeah, I actually get the hate for this. This one's pretty bad. I mean, it's pretty ambitious to cover a 14-minute long song, and as somebody who doesn't really listen to Car Seat Headrest, I can't say too much about this one. But I can say that I don't like it. The vocals here are just like really bad, and I can't stand them, to be honest. I think like 2 people really like this cover, but that's about it. This is one we can sweep under the rug and forget about, except for the fact that they covered another song right after. The second song that they covered was Welcome to the Black Parade by My Chemical Romance, and I feel like this one's actually quite a bit better than the last. Like, this cover is still bad and cringy, but I think it's just because it's an NCR cover. It's gonna be impossible to pull that off without being a little cringy, I think. Jay's vocals are better on this song though. She does sound a bit weird, but that's whatever. This song is still bad, and I cannot see what they were trying to go for in here. But whatever, this cover era can now be thankfully swept under the rug, never to be remembered again. Glass Beach also released a debut remix album featuring a ton of people like Jaharia, Backwash, Floral Tattoo, Pink Shift, Namdi, and a lot more. There's not too much to say other than that they just seem like a bunch of covers, but they're fun and there's just not much extra to say about it. The Jaharia one is my favorite, but that's just because I like Jaharia already and that's my favorite song on the album, so I'm a little bit biased, but I don't know, this is still noteworthy. It's fun. In preparation for their second album release, they released 2 singles, being The CIA and Rare Animal, but I'll wait to talk about those for when they come up during the album. In January of 2024, Glass Beach released their second album, Plastic Death. The singles for this album did convey one thing, and it was that this album would be nothing like their first, having a rockier sound that featured way different vocals. The whiplash I got from listening to this album cannot be understated. It was almost a disappointment at first, but I got used to it pretty fast. Something I will mention before I start talking about the songs is that it was stated that there's little bit of the album that is actually about a relationship, and if it seems that way, it's just a metaphor. If you hear me discussing a relationship on this album, take it with a grain of salt because I'm just not smart enough to decipher it all. This album practically disregards the power pop elements of the first album, making a, I'd say, more normal sound. This album is really good, just a shift for the band, which is immediately evident on the first track, Coelacanth. Coelacanth is a 6-minute long progressive song that starts off slow and quiet, building up into a louder sound. I really don't like the vocals here at the beginning. As mentioned before on this channel, I can't stand quiet or whispery vocals, but besides that, for normal people, this song is a treat. A coelacanth is an ancient and rare type of fish that was once thought to be extinct before being rediscovered in 1938. So, yeah, that's what the name is. This song serves as an opposite to classic J Dies He Goes to Hell Part 1, where instead of focusing on positive parts of Community, this song focuses on the greatly negative parts, with inspiration from World War I being used for lyrics. This song is just really cruel, especially against the nature of hope that the first album had. The only thing I can take from this song without feeling like I'm misunderstanding it is the ending, with this album having themes of government rule. This feels like it's about the government trying to convince you of something, trying to manipulate you. Being you is all that you ask for. Now you can be ours, is the logic I see in this, but I'm not too confident in that. The second track is Motions, which is a critique of capitalism. This narrator in this song is going through it, with them being aware of the cruel nature that a capitalistic society brings, with dark patterns that exist to pull you in and steal your money. The singer is judging their humanity with their success, saying that without a high social status, they aren't even a person. They would rather blend into the background and run on autopilot, not having to worry about these issues of success or status, the issues of finding where to go. I will admit how I view these songs might be slightly different than how you see it. This album, to me, is much less straightforward than the first, so if you think otherwise for these songs, make sure to let me know. But Motions is definitely one of my favorite tracks on here. The ending part always gets me. Track 3 on Plastic Death is Slip Through the Door. I'm noticing the themes of this album coming together, and one seems to be the concept of property. Not just like buying a home and stuff like that, but on who owns you. Is your body your own property, and how will people try to say otherwise? These lyrics are also deeply rooted in the queer experience, which presented in a much darker way on this album, which makes it a bit less obvious for listeners. This song specifically has lyrics that relate to the concept, with the chorus saying we will make no compromises, probably referring to their own identity. The outro of the song is where it's really clear, with it reading, "Is the body a property? Take control of your property. Mutilation, autonomy. Reclamation of territory." This is just a clear example of how the autonomous themes of this album work. The next song is Guitar Song, which is a short 2.5-minute track about something. These lyrics are really well written, but less cohesive for me, which makes sense for such a short track. I think this one is supposed to be all over the place, but I might just be illiterate or something. Well, track 5 is the first single, Rare Animal, which is about caring for somebody, but not having that feeling return to you. D.B. Cooper is mentioned a lot in this song as a parallel to how it feels to be an ignorant child being put in situations that you can't comprehend and retreating into yourself. D.B. Cooper was the alias of a man who robbed a plane in 1971. Cooper got his money and then jumped out of the back of the plane, making his escape. D.B. Cooper retreated and didn't have a clear motivation, which I guess is how it feels to be a confused child. Lyrics also mention the gold star system in schools, which is a system in which students are rewarded with gold stars when they behave. It also mentions being rewarded with these stars when having proper eye contact, which is particularly harder for autistic individuals. The ending of the song is literally so good. The production is incredible and the transition into the next song is really good too. I definitely see why this is a single, and I think it's cool to have the D.B. Cooper reference on here. I've always been interested in that story. Cul-de-sac is the next song on this album. Just by being familiar with Glass Beach and seeing the title, it would be safe to assume that this is something about American life or the American dream or something, but the cul-de-sac mainly represents being trapped in a cycle. A cul-de-sac is also a clear dead end, where when you're in a cul-de-sac, there's no longer a way to progress. The chorus is really good in the song, being about letting go of the past and how humanity is always yearning to go back. Only now every town is the same town is probably a reference to how copy and pasted American suburbs are now, with the same boring layout that features no trees or anything exciting. It's just a profitable and stripped back way to cram money in. This song also mentions religion, and how it's often tied to fascist ideas that don't exist to serve God, but serve to take advantage of and monetize. The lyric describes this God as a rotting corpse because of how many religious people walk all over it. This song is also about the new generations and how they're constantly changing fashion and what the norms are, while older generations are no longer changing the world. They're just ghosts of the past and they often complain about the new generation with a bitter heart. Also, holy shit, the guitar solo in this song is absolutely insane. I can't listen to this song up until 1 minute 16 seconds because of my misophonia, but this instrumental section is literally so good. I like this song. Track 7 is Whale Fall, which is a track with less lyrics than others. A whale fall is when a whale dies and sinks to the floor, becoming a food source for organisms in the deep sea. Jay says this song is like how development in art is, with every new development being like worms feeding off of what came before. There's also an amen break towards the end of the song, so that's interesting. That's about all I have to say about Whale Fall. The lesser amount of lyrics leads to a sort of simpler track, but it's still good. The next song is Puppy, which Jay described as the darkest song on the album due to its lyrical directness. The song starts off with a common theme of wanting to go back, remembering the happier days, but now shame is gravity. The lyrics show that they were also a more hateful person back then, but according to Jay, that was a good motivator for art. The chorus has a metaphor of being called back and forth like a dog, being easily confused on where you're actually meant to go. The dog in the metaphor is then revealed to be abused, at first giving affection to their owner before being beaten down and instead lying still. When the dog runs away, their owners don't even care enough to notice it's gone. In the outro, the dog faces the consequences of this abuse, being afraid to love and being paranoid from here on out. This song is simply about abuse and the fear that it creates, from the perspective of an abused animal. This song is really good and emotional, and the ending is really powerful. I do understand why Jay says this is the darkest song on here, just because it's really easy to understand what's happening. But I really like this song. I can see why this is a fan favorite. The Killer is yet another song that references the suburbs, with it telling the story of a fox caught in a bear trap, before the killer comes and puts it out of its misery. This is a pretty straightforward song. It describes the fox's situation in detail and refers to the listener as the killer. The killer is meant to represent the anxieties of suburban America. I kinda take this song as if it's trying to say that if you're caught in the teeth that is the American dream, The suburbs are here to finish the job, but that's just how I see it. This is yet another violent song about an animal being hurt, and it's kinda uncomfortable to listen to, but I kinda like it for that reason. The second single reveals itself on track 10 of this album, with the CIA. This is my favorite song on the album, and it picks up the themes of government that were apparent earlier. This song mainly sticks around the theme of surveillance, with the narrator feeling like they're being watched, and honestly, could be. This can also be seen as a metaphor for a relationship, but as I said, that's probably not the case, with their partner always monitoring them and keeping tabs, causing the narrator to feel paranoid. The narrator is dependent on this person though. I can't help it, I keep coming back to you. I guess this could be about a citizen who believes that the CIA is a positive force, even if they're causing them so much paranoia. But you get the idea, it's something along those lines. This is one of my favorite songs on the album for a reason. It is incredibly catchy and the instrumental goes crazy hard. I feel this is one of the most obvious choices for an album single and they chose well. The next song is 200, which was inspired by cargo cults, which was something the US Army did in World War II, where they would stop by small Pacific islands and gift them with modern technology. These gifts were ultimately treasured and the recipients started treating the US like a god and praying for more items. This is what inspires a lot of the imagery in the song, but it is not necessarily what it's about. The song is about the general theme of exploitation, with the character in the song being deeply exploited and dehumanized, feeling sold for entertainment. The outro lyrics on here are so cool. I think she does an amazing job on these vocals, but that's about all I have to say on this song. It's pretty good. Track 12 is the climax of the album, being comatose. Hey, doesn't this song have a Geometry Dash level? This is a 10-minute long extravaganza with 3 separate parts. The title purposefully adds an extra M to change it from coma to comma, changing the definition from coma to a simple pause. This song uses the story of a relationship that's probably a metaphor for something, but I'm not too sure yet. Jay says that a lot of this song is abstract, so I don't feel too horrible about not being able to put it together. This song does have a little bit of everything, with the romantic metaphors, the American and capitalistic criticism, and really strong emotional lyrics. As you'd expect, this song is incredibly progressive in its nature, changing from slow to fast, from slow to fast. The ending is really wonderful, with this guitar fading into these scary sirens, ending with like a minute of ambience before leading into the final track of the album. The final track of Glass Beach's catalog is Abyss Angel, which serves as the light in the darkness for this whole album. This song seems to be about separating yourself from your family, a theme that was relevant on their first album. Even though they're scared of leaving them behind, without doing this, they're left with nowhere to go. This unfair treatment has the narrator wanting to harm them, saying that when they die, they'll laugh at them. As the album has been about, they are a human being who deserves proper treatment, and that's how the album ends. Yeah, low-key sorry if I messed up some of the details about the second album. I had a really hard time understanding a lot of the themes and my misophonia made it so I couldn't really listen to the album. But that's all of the Glass Beach catalog. I'm sad that we won't be getting any more from them, but Jay just released her solo album under the alias You Are an Angel, so I can't really complain. Even though the band is split, we'll still be getting content, and what they've given us together has been wonderful. I love Glass Beach, and I love most of these songs, so I'm not too sad to see them go. Oh yeah, and subscribe too. This is a long video.